What's good with y'all boys? Well, the day has finally come. After a 3-year wait from Eternal Take, Lil Uzi has finally dropped a new project titled Pink Tape. He's teased the project for over 2 years, and after many ups and downs over those 2 years, from fans calling certain snippets mid and proclaiming that Uzi might have fell off, to now, him dropping Pink Tape finally. Now obviously Uzi never did or was even close to falling off musically wise. Uzi is one of the most successful rappers of all time and has solidified himself as a vet in the game. This project, in my opinion, whether it was his worst or his best, will not affect his legacy or standing in hip hop today at all. You know, it was a really long wait. Since Eternal Take dropped, Uzi went on a Future run for the ages, and as we all know, he dropped the collab tape with Future, which I loved, and the Red Plus White tape, which was pretty good as well. Now, these projects weren't as well received by Uzi fans, and rightfully so, as they were all waiting for his next solo full-length project. Everyone was kind of holding their breath seeing what Uzi would do next, and overall, I don't think he disappointed at all. I honestly think Pink Tape was pretty good, man. I love the first half way more than the second. I kind of feel like in the middle of the album, we saw more of a experimental side of Uzi, which even though I didn't really like the heavy metal kind of rock songs he was on, I respect his decision and ability to go outside of his lane and try something new. With all the pressure that was on Uzi for this project, you have to have extreme confidence in yourself to go the exact opposite way of what your music up until this point sounded like. No one really expected that from Uzi, and even though I didn't like the experimental songs such as CS, which yes, I know was a cover, as well as Nightmare, which sounded like he was a feature in the track because he barely had a verse at all, and the end, which was just hard to listen to, in my opinion. But like I said before, I respect Uzi for going this route and switching up his sound on a couple of songs. Now, I'm a pretty traditional Uzi fan. My favorite project is Love Is Rage 2, not that unique in the Uzi community, and I actually really liked Eternal Take, his last solo album. The first 10 songs of Pink Tape had me thinking Uzi was about to drop his version of Cardi's Whole Lotta Red, which I know has become pretty standard to say after seeing other reviews of the album. I love Flooded the Face as an intro. Cannot wait to hear that played at concerts. Suicide Doors was also great, extremely high energy, but I feel like it went on just a little too long, which is okay. But that kind of became a theme throughout the album. Some songs were just super bloated. But I can't take that away from Uzi because it was still a very solid project. Moving on to the first feature on the album, which was Travis Scott on A, with just an amazing beat from Benny X. I mean, I can make a whole video on the run this guy has had the last 6 months. Just amazing production. Little bit of an underwhelming verse and hook from Uzi. Nothing terrible, but just my opinion. Then we had Travis Scott's verse. Now listen, I love Travis Scott. I think Astroworld was great. But if I ever had more doubt for Utopia, it was after that verse he delivered. That gritty bar just made me angry, honestly. It just facepalm, cringe, whatever you want to say. Even though his new album, Utopia, I think will deliver, these last couple features he has, it's kind of worried me. I loved Amped and Times 2. I mean, that beat from Ken Carson on Times 2 is just out of this world. It's another song I can't wait to be here played at concerts. Died and Came Back was cool. Even included a little Roddy Ricch diss, which was pretty funny. Now let me talk to you guys about Spin Again. I mean, wow. The production is amazing. It's probably my favorite song on the project. But why only one verse, Uzi? Why? The shortest song on the project ended up being my favorite, which is okay because it has amazing replay value. I mean, the hook is just addicting. I Got It and That Fi were cool. Pretty much the same vibe as the first couple of songs. I imagine all of them will be a lot better when played in concert. The first half of the album, like I said before, sounded like it was made for performances. I don't have a problem with that at all. That's what made Whole Lotta Red so iconic today because of how amazing and high energy the concerts were. Endless Fashion was weird. The Nicki feature wasn't awful. I just didn't really like the I'm Good interpolation. It's kind of hard to draw away from that song. And I don't really like that song that much. And it's all I really think about when I'm listening to it. Not a very bad song, though. I like Mom, I'm Sorry. Uzi even gives his own version of Somebody I Used to Know, which was pretty funny. But his hook kind of made up for the lack of good verses in the song. All Alone was amazing. Top tier melodic Uzi with a great verse as well. Can't really have any complaints about that. Now the next run of tracks including Nakamura, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, CS, Fire Alarm, and Nightmare is where Uzi kind of lost me. Now like I said previously, I like that Uzi is experimenting, and this is way more harsh and heavy metal than many people claimed Whole Lotta Red was. I just personally couldn't get that much into it. But I do see why people like it, and I'm glad people do enjoy it. I'm just not very likely to go back to those songs. That's just not really the Uzi I'm used to or enjoy, but I might give them a chance at a later time. In my opinion, the project picked back up with Pluto and Mars, which was a grail to many Uzi fans who were waiting on that song for years. It was a cool track and it had some pretty good bars in there as well. My only complaint is that it's just simply a little too long. You know, like I said before, some of these songs just shouldn't be this long. 2 minutes 30 seconds to 3 minutes would be perfect, but repeating the hook 3 to 4 different times, you just kind of start to lose me personally as a listener. I still enjoyed the song though. Patience with Don Toliver was amazing. The production is just euphoric and psychedelic, and it really took me to another planet, which is a feeling I really love when listening to Uzi. That's what kind of got me into him in 2016. Don Toliver's background vocals were an awesome add to the song, and the hook was amazing. Uzi really did his thing on this track. A little too long once again, but it didn't scare me away this time. Now, at the tail end of the project, we had Days Come and Go and Rehab, in which Uzi discusses his love life for City Girls JT and his drug use in the last couple of years. I love these two songs. Introspective Uzi is usually pretty hit or miss, but it was awesome to see him go pretty deep into his bag for the last couple of tracks. I love the hook on Days Come and Go, and Rehab had an addicting beat. It was really awesome to hear Uzi, talk about some real life problems he had and present them in the way he did. It was also great to hear Uzi shout out all the people in rehab that helped him out along the way when he was presumably in rehab. Like I said, introspective Uzi can usually be hit or miss, but he really did a great job on these two songs. Songs like these I can put up with the longer song length because there's actually substance behind it. But because he's basically kind of telling a story, it actually sounds good and I can put up with it. Now, the actual outro to this album was The End, which I honestly think he could have left off. I understand, he's experimenting with the 100 gex sound, but I just didn't really vibe with it. I'm glad fans like it though. Now my final thoughts. It looks like Uzi is going to end up selling around 200 to 250K, which is just a massive success for him. And I'm so happy that he was able to put an album out that he truly loved. It's always great to see Uzi happy. How can you not like him? It was experimental in the fact that we've never really heard or seen Uzi do tracks like the heavy metal rock songs we heard. But it's always good to see artists step out of their box. You never want to be the same, project after project. That's how you end up like Polo G or DaBaby, who just kind of drop the same song every couple of months. My rating for this project, the Pink Tape, would be an 8. I liked about 17 of the 23 songs, not including the bonus tracks, because if you're a moderate Uzi fan, you've already heard those songs. They're very old. He just kind of added them so he could get additional streams. Once again, not really into the heavy metal rock stuff. I like it when it's not so extreme, like a little more mellow, kind of like a Destroy Lonely Dangerous kind of vibe. But like I said, I'm glad fans are embracing it, and it seems like it's a pretty well-received project from fans, which is great. The last thing we needed was this fan base going crazy toxic on Uzi, saying he was mid, and that he fell off, and then having to deal with that until his next project. Uzi is a legend. He will never fall off, and I'm excited to see what he does next. Supposedly there will be no deluxe for this, which I think is a great move. With an already pretty bloated 26 soundtrack list, we don't really need a deluxe, but he did say he was going to drop another separate album, so stay on the lookout for that. But as we all know, Uzi's probably just lying. I think it would be smart for him to let this piece of work marinate for, at least a year with the fans and kind of build up that hype again he had for this project. But like I said, solid 8 on the album for me. I love the rage stuff and the melodic progression from Uzi. He just kind of lost me a little with the different cohesion from that to the, heavy metal stuff. That's why this album isn't a 9 or a 10 to me. And yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts on the Pink Tape. Uzi did not disappoint. You know, he did a great job. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Let me know what videos you would want next. And go run up Uzi's sales, man, because, you know, he really deserves it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want to. And besides that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.